Going first.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to the We Can't Wrestle podcast, episode 117 of the show. And on this week's show, of course, like we said, we are doing worst or least favorite, however you want to put it, angles of all time. And what's that?
I was going to say, are we going to, somebody's just going to do their whole list, or are we going to bounce back and forth?
No, we'll alternate like we normally do.
All right.
Before that, I want to do just a little shameless plugging here. First of all, if you're not a member of our Facebook group, Aaron.
Why the fuck aren't you?
Why the fuck aren't you? Right now, as a matter of fact, there's a U.S. title there's a U.S. champion tournament going on right now where Aaron's giving away free shit. I have a member drive going on where I'm willing to give away it's essentially $150 value Ring of Honor replica World Television Championship
unit price.
Unit price. Inside joke. And also coming to the group next year in 2021, the deal is sealed. It's finalized. The ink is dry. Archie Mitchell's Trolley Trivia is coming to the We Can't Wrestle podcast Facebook group.
Yes, it is. Yes,
more opportunities. More opportunities for free shit.
You've never heard of Trolley Trivia?
Is it like customized troll dolls?
Yes, it is. No, oh god, no. It is it's a trivia show that I do, sort of like Weakest Link, not Weakest Link. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And you get asked a question, you get told the answers, and you pick the right answer. If you're correct, you move on, and you got a chance to win free shit.
Is it all wrestling related?
No, I asked about Barbie and 90210. Yes, it's about wrestling. Yes, it's wrestling related.
I'm in on this.
That will be coming to the We Can't Wrestle Facebook group as well in 2021, and so much more going on. And also, another shameless plug, Reliving the Extreme, a podcast that is taking the world by storm, with myself, Aaron, and ECW's Chad Austin, as we are week to week chronologically reliving ECW. Man, this is fun stuff.
Guys, if you're not listening to Nate, Aaron, and Chad, it's a learning experience if you didn't watch older ECW. I mean, we all know 94, 95, 96, 97 ECW, but I listened to an episode and then I immediately went and looked for one of the wrestlers they talked about. And then I found a video about the weirdest things that happened in ECW before they were Extreme Championship Wrestling. And then it was a guy named Rockin' Rebel who's banned from being named on the WWE Network or even in ECW videos. And I went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So because of Reliving the Extreme, I got learned in more things that I didn't know.
And so, Chad's insights are fantastic.
Without a doubt.
Talking about, especially in this period of time and as time goes on as well. But I mean, he knew, literally personally knew a lot of these guys, worked with them. He was like best friends with Axl Rotten. It's been great having him along in the show.
Right.
He is not only a worker, but Chad is also a wrestling fan like we are. So we get deep into these conversations about not just ECW, but other territories. Like, you got to go listen to the show, folks. I'm not going to spoil anything because I want you to have to go listen. But there's a reason that I named this week's episode of the Reliving the Extreme podcast Community Van. There's a reason for that, and let me tell you, it involves a wormhole involving Paul Heyman and Terry Gordy, and there's all kind of shit. But it's
Wildman Sal
Balomo. It's crazy, but it's a great show. It's been a fantastic experience doing it so far, and
it won't be really hard to catch up either, guys. We're only 14 episodes in, so if you want to start it at the beginning, it's not like you're going to be super behind.
And each episode's only about between 50 minutes to an hour. And like I said, great show. I'm not tooting my own horn like Arn Anderson, but toot. I think we're doing a great job, and I'm really proud of it. Just like I'm proud of this show.
Like, you're gonna be off Christmas, just ignore your family and put in your earbuds and listen to Reliving the Extreme.
Relive the Extreme.
I find myself listening to it when I'm customizing or when I go off for my walks to exercise, because I could zone out just listening to you guys. But then Chad comes in with the firsthand experience of what he was doing when that was going on and what he knew the backstage stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I go back and I watch older videos of older ECW, and I see Terry Funk in a tuxedo interviewing people going, "Oh, wow." And it's like, wow, what the fuck was Terry Funk doing? Why was that Terry Funk in 1993? You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just, you guys, it gives you a reason to watch older stuff if you're dissatisfied with the current product.
Yes, and please do. I encourage everyone to, obviously, since we're going in chronological order, and we always talk at the end of the show about which episode we're watching next week, you know which episode we're going to watch. Go back and watch it before we do the show, and then as you're listening along, you can have your own commentary in your head.
Right.
But definitely check out Reliving the Extreme. Archie, anything you want to shamelessly plug before we move into our top 10 here?
I'll be honest with you. If you're not a member of the Asylum, Nerd Closet, We Can't Wrestle podcast, or World Championship Customs, you're missing out on the virtual meet and greets. Mm-hmm. We just had Demolition on the show, which was fantastic. We have Dustin Rhodes coming up in February of 2021. Terry Reynolds, his ex-wife.
Tori Wilson.
Tori Wilson was just announced tonight. Don Morocco's coming up. Lex Luger. Guys, that in itself is a reason to be a member of these groups. But if you like buying toys, if you like seeing old toys, if you like talking to people and making jokes, come on down, because you're missing out on a community that ends up growing into a family. Before you realize it.
Really, the real talk here on Archie just mentioned it. We Can't Wrestle, Asylum, World Championship Customs, Nerd Closet. If you're in those four groups, we got you covered, man.
Right.
Everything. You want wrestling conversation, you want collectibles, and with the Nerd Closet, it's not all wrestling. It's if you're into Star Wars or what have you. It's a fantastic group of communities, and I am very, very happy to be a part of it.
As am I.
Can I ask something about the trolley trivia thing?
Go ahead. Go right ahead.
Like, are we going to bring somebody on and they're like going to do it on the show?
Yeah.
Fucking A.
I will pick one night and we'll go live with StreamYard, and someone will come up and Nate will be hosting the StreamYard. I'll ask the questions. If they want to phone a friend, they can bring somebody else onto StreamYard and ask them a question. And like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? So
can I do like a?
You could be the first guest.
I don't even. Not even the first guest. I just want to be like the shitty co-host.
You could. That's fine.
Like heckle the guy? Can I heckle people?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt, you can heckle the guy.
Yeah.
So, we've done it before in the Asylum and in World Championship Customs. And
every show needs every game show or whatever. He's like a little co-host guy, man.
Right.
The guy. I'll just stand off in the corner and just make fun of the guy if he gets it wrong. What I want to do.
See, now that's the funny part. We've actually had a couple people make it to the 9th question and then lose. And it's like, I want these guys to win because it's free stuff. I want to give it away.
I want them to lose.
One guy came on and he's like, wow, you're asking really hard questions. I'm like, dude, I asked you what the name of Kevin Sullivan's group was in WCW. He's like, yeah, but I don't watch WCW. I'm like, well, then I'm sorry. That's not a hard question.
So now we roll into our top 10, and I want to say
I have it written as hated angles,
and that worst, least favorite, hated. Either way, we're throwing some shade here tonight on the show.
Angles.
Yeah. Now I want to be fair. I did not include anything over like the past 15 years, because then that would be my, like, I could take AEW's first year and have my top 10. Well, so I didn't include anything from probably the past 10 years at least.
I have stuff that are current. I have current things, but
I don't have current things, but I have things that have been in the last 10 or 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll let Aaron go first.
Yes. Go right ahead, Mr. Maxon.
I'll just go with the first thing I wrote down, and it is, where is Cactus Jack?
I almost put it on my list, but I didn't.
You didn't like that?
Lost in Cleveland? No.
Lost in Cleveland was terrible.
I thought it was good.
The movie sucked. The humor was terrible. Like right off the bat, like the guy's like making fun of Rain Man, and he's like eating Cheetos with a toothpick, and he's like, "Guy to watch Wapner," and then he's like, "Oh, Jack, he's over there," and it's some piece of shit guy doing like a Jack Nicholson impersonation playing basketball, and it's just right off the bat, you're like, this is lame, and it brought a thought to my head about WCW. How many times did WCW just make fun of mentally ill people?
Quite a few. Norman the Lunatic, David Sullivan,
Flair in the Asylum.
Flair in the Asylum. This thing, they gave Hugh Morris, like for a minute with Misfits in Action, like a mentally challenged grandpa.
Right.
It's like, what is wrong with you? And the only person I can think is Kevin Sullivan, because he's the only guy that was like on the committee the entire time. So Kevin Sullivan just likes making fun of mentally ill people.
Shame on you, Kevin Sullivan.
I don't like the retards. Don't like the retards.
But other than this thing's just being dumb, a waste of money, and shittily made little videos, what it did was it completely knocked the legs out of something that started out as being one of the realistic things that happened in wrestling at that time. That Vader Cactus Jack feud was fucking. They had some badass fucking matches. They found a perfect guy for Vader. Vader, like Bret Hart has talked about it. Vader hurt him all the time. But then Vader would be like, "I'm so sorry," like I did, like Vader didn't know his own strength, is what Brett would say, and Sting had said the same thing and all this. But they found a guy that could fucking take it.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. This proves that at this time, maybe not now, and it's so funny because, and I don't want to get off. I do not want to get off with the rails, so I won't. But I will say this: it is so funny that there is literally, it's like there's two Vince McMahons, because we have Vince McMahon pre-2010 and Vince McMahon post-2010. That's what I was going to say, though. This proves to you the difference between the clusterfuck that was WCW and the genius that was Vince McMahon. Because to what you were saying, Aaron, WCW could have got out of Foley and Vader here what they got out of what WWF got out of Taker and Foley.
True.
Because the WWF turned Foley into Taker's greatest rival, and WCW could have well done that with Vader with Foley. Instead, they did this. They did when they had their match that was violent. They did the whole pan out and just show the crowd shit, where we didn't get to see any of the cool stuff. Aaron's completely right. They dropped the ball with Vader and Foley.
Did. I agree. I don't know. The vignettes for some reason were funny to me.
They were trash.
When they finally found him, he's like, "I'm a sea captain." And no, you're Cactus Jack. No, I'm a sea captain. I'm like, okay, great. But I was young. I was stupid.
Lost in Cleveland, something was definitely lost in translation. So, anything else on that, guys?
Not for me.
It was trash.
Archie, you get to go next.
The first thing I wrote down was from TNA. I have a few things from them on my list, actually, but I've mentioned this before on the show. I'm not a very big fan of MVP, and when he went to TNA, I thought it was just horrible. But the group that he spawned when he got there was bad.
You have to refresh my memory.
The Beatdown Clan. It was him, Samoa Joe, Low Key, and Homicide.
God, this is so bad I don't even remember it.
Right. and like he tried to steal the world heavyweight title because he couldn't beat, of all people, Eric Young. And it just their promos were really bad. Picture the Hurt Business, but like 35% more sucky.
Oof.
You know what I mean? And that's saying a bad thing for something that had Samoa Joe and Homicide and Low Key in it.
Mm-hmm.
3 actually excellent wrestlers.
What year was this?
It was like 2004.
Oh, wow.
You know, and then they went to Europe, and then that's when Drew McIntyre debuted. Mm-hmm. McIntyre comes in through the crowd with a pipe and hits Low Key as hard as he can over the head with a lead pipe. Splits Low Key down the forehead, and now Low Key is gushing blood. And instead of panning away, the cameraman's right on Low Key's face, and this is all you see Low Key say. Who the fuck is that motherfucker, and why did he try to kill me? And he literally goes to the ring to beat the shit out of Drew McIntyre, not knowing who he is, thinking it was a fan. So, in my opinion, it was just a shitty all-around feud that did nothing for nobody.
Mm-hmm.
MVP was gone like 3 months later.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, so I'm totally going to agree with you on that, Archie, because I have no idea what you're even talking about.
It was abysmal. It was abysmal. The only good thing that came out of it was Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards, the American Wolves, signed with TNA because of it. That was the only good thing that came out of it.
Well, I'm gonna say you are right.
Go back and look for it. Just type in Beatdown Clan. I promise
I'm
it
good.
won't be.
I'm good.
Yeah. Trust me.
Well,
all right, Nate, you're up.
What I'm sure will be a trend in this list, in all of our lists at some point. I'm going to say this first one that I have. Bro, I got an idea, bro. It's a Vince Russo debacle. That is when the WWF tried to, I don't know if the word's capitalize or what it is, on Road Warrior Hawk's personal demons. You have the Road Warriors.
I almost put that on my list. I honestly God did. I'll tell you why when you're done, why I didn't, but go ahead.
The Road Warriors, one of the most badass tag teams of all time. There's only one way to use the Road Warriors, and that is not to humanize them.
Right.
Humanizing the Road Warriors is a terrible idea. And this entire thing from beginning to end is a boring, pointless nightmare.
That ends horrifyingly.
It's also classless.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say it's classless is because it, like, say they want to do an angle and they say, oh, this guy's like a drunk or something like that. Like, I know we were talking about like AEW, the fucking cowboy guy, what's his name? Adam Page.
Mm-hmm.
They have him drink and stuff like that, you know. But you don't ever hear about the guy actually having, like, I'm sure he likes to drink.
Right. Yeah, but he doesn't. Yeah,
but,
you don't hear about it.
You don't hear about him like passing out in hotel rooms and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like passing out in his plate of spaghetti. Fucking Hawk had that problem.
Yeah.
And that's what they just brought onto TV. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I didn't like about it.
Yeah.
And it was all to push Darren Drozdov.
And you didn't know it at the time, but you look back on it with now knowledge. That guy was fucked up. And maybe he shouldn't have been on fucking TV. Maybe you guys should have said, hey, Hawk, you got a problem.
Go to rehab.
Let's get you some help. Instead, they were like, hey, Hawk, you got a problem.
Let's
humiliate you on. Let's humiliate you on.
Right.
Problem.
Hey, Hawk, climb the Titantron, and we're gonna let Darren Drozdov push you off of it.
Oh, it's just awful. When I watch the shows from that era, I skip this shit because I don't even want to watch it.
And I guarantee that Hawk wasn't fucked up while he was on TV.
No, exactly.
But they were like, hey, they were making him go out there and act like that, and it was bullshit. There was like a couple funny. There was a couple funny lines that Hawk got in there when he was like doing like commentary stuff, but other than that, it was pointless, it was senseless, and it was tasteful.
And if anybody who was watching at the time was maybe having a drug or alcohol problem, they thought it was okay. It made like you mentioned making fun of mentally challenged people. Well, you're making fun of somebody with a problem, and now they're like, oh well, the WWE's making fun of them. I guess they don't like me either.
Well, and that's the thing about Vince Russo style booking too, is you could theoretically do a story with a wrestler who has an addiction of some kind or who has a vice of some kind, and in the end they're triumphant. In the end they recover. In the end they overcome. But the way Vince Russo tells stories,
no, let's talk about the ugly part.
It's all ugly. Yes.
There's no happy ending unless he's winning the world title.
Yeah. So I think this shit on the legacy of the Road Warriors,
it was bad. It helped nothing.
It was complete garbage.
What the thing that bothered me about it the most is when Droz pushes Hawk off the Titantron, they made it look like he was pushing him too. Shouldn't the idea have been that he was trying to save Hawk so he didn't look like he was the one who caused him to be a drug addict? That's what ultimately came out of it. Oh, it was all Droz. He's the drug addict. He's the drug dealer. He's the guy pushing beer down. So you're trying to kill him now.
Yeah.
You basically tried to murder him instead of trying to help him. And then when they finally reveal it was you, Droz, he's like, "What, me? Yeah, you motherfucker! You just tried to throw me off Titantron."
So stupid.
And meanwhile, Animal's just sitting there going, "Come on, Hawk, come on."
Aaron, what's your the next one on your list?
The next one on my list, I'll kind of go out of order here because the next one was I believe it might have not been a Vince Russo gimmick. I don't know. Yeah, it was. So I'll go with a non-Russo era thing. We're gonna go with Katie Vick.
And I have Katie Vick written down.
Yes, I have her on my list as well.
Yep. I got the old Katie Vick on my list as well. It was 5th.
I had it all the way at number 1 on mine.
Oof.
I really hated that storyline. It was bad.
The main thing is it was a fucking storyline that was just and people can tell me if they think I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. This was an entire storyline based off a really shitty punchline to a joke.
Right.
Somebody was like, "Oh, fuck her brains out," and somebody's like, "Hey, that's funny."
Right.
And now let's weave it into the story of Kane.
Can I just say that's good shit, pal?
Yeah. It's just fucking terrible.
I just acted like how the whole Droz thing and whatever. You basically made Kane into a necrophiliac so you could unmask him. Couldn't we get the mask off of him some other way? Right. I'm sure if we would have asked real nicely, he would have just took the mask off. But no, let's make him fuck a dead body after he killed her in a car accident.
Oh God, it's so bad.
And then Shawn Michaels shit all over it a month later
and
on national television.
And the worst part about it is, like Aaron said, punchline. None of it's funny.
None of it.
It's not. None of it's funny. Like it's like you're attempting. This was the way that I equate Katie Vick is Katie Vick. The storyline is essentially the end of the Attitude Era. In that we've
done everything.
Yes, we've done everything.
We've done every goddamn thing we could do. We've cut a guy's dick off, but then said it was shrinkage. We
made fun of people with addiction.
We've made fun of people with addictions.
The Undertaker tried to possess Stephanie.
Yeah, we tried to fucking do a live embalming. We've done there's something else on my list so I don't want to scoop my own heat. We've done all these different things. What is the one thing we haven't done?
Necrophilia.
Nobody's fucked a dead person.
Right. Now, technically, though, if you go back to how the Kane and Undertaker storyline began to unfold, I believe Paul Bearer mentioned something about sleeping with the Undertaker's mother when she was dead. So, I don't remember exactly.
She was alive because he said one leg was in New York and the other one was in California. And Terry Lawler's laughing along and shit. And that's great because Lawler does the thing, and then they come back, and he's like, "I didn't know we were on TV. I'm very
Yeah,
sorry about that. I'm really, really, really sorry." And then, like 30 minutes later, they're commentating, and Undertaker just pops up, and Lawler's like, "Shit!" And then Lawler's like, Undertaker's a piece of shit. Now we're getting into like great storylines.
Right.
Katie Vick.
Yeah, it's
Archie,
just bad.
Archie, what's next?
My next one is one that I found as pointless as possible because it only led to Vince McMahon getting his head shaved. And it involves our current president of the United States.
The Battle of the Billionaires?
It is Donald Trump buying Monday Night Raw for one night only.
Oh, yeah, that was tough.
And he said it was involving somebody in wrestling that had no idea what he was about or anything. Right. And like there was a press conference they went to, and Donald Trump legitimately said, "I'm bringing in my man Leslie."
Yep.
Leslie.
Yep. Exactly. It did nothing for the company. It did nothing for that year's WrestleMania.
As a matter of fact, most of, and I'm not going to say I don't. I actually enjoy, not necessarily. Okay, I enjoy at WrestleMania 23. I think Lashley and Umaga had a badass match.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And obviously, Vince is fantastic in getting his hair shaved.
Yes,
because I mean, he's right up there with Regal as far as facial expressions. Yeah, overall the usage, other than I guess I'll say anything after that Mania, because I think the Trump buying WWE actually happened after Mania. I think it happened that summer.
Right.
It was so bad and it was pointless and it didn't do any. The only person it benefited was Trump.
Right.
It was for him to promote.
It didn't bump a rating.
Yeah, it was for him to.
It made me think that maybe they were going to have like a battle, like Trump was going to be the GM of Raw and Vince was going to stay on with SmackDown, like they did with the whole Flair debacle.
Yeah, it was essentially just a way for Trump to promote The Apprentice.
Right. I mean,
on the WWE.
And it's like you said, Nate. Sorry, I had to walk away for a second, but because I'm so upset about that angle. No, I'm kidding. Umaga and Lashley, like you said, had a fantastic match.
Right,
Vince did a great job getting his head shaved. There could have been 20 different ways that you could have got to
that payoff.
Yeah, let's be honest. You could have just had Shane be the other guy.
Yeah, it could have been so cold. Austin was the referee anyway. It could have been Austin.
You know what? This is gonna be out of left field. Guess who it could have been?
Who?
It could have been Ted DiBiase.
Yeah.
Right. It didn't have to
I'm
be
the $1 billion man now, man.
Right.
I'll fucking put in dividends and all this shit that people that are smarter than me talk about, and I'm fucking billionaire, Ted, now. Yeah, like Trump added nothing. And then I also posted an article a long time ago that Batista claimed that Donald Trump wore a diaper during his match.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Which is even greater because then now he's walking around the ring like. All right, so the next one on my list. Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Aaron.
Fucker.
Do you remember?
You motherfucker.
Making afros on No Mercy.
Yes. You're going to make me scratch it off my list.
The Black Scorpion. God damn it. What a debacle.
Ole Anderson was like the go-to voice for every gimmick they had to get over with a voiceover.
And this was he was like Vince Russo in this respect because this was his plan with no fucking how it's going to end.
He didn't book a guy under the mask.
The Black Scorpion itself, like as an entity, isn't a bad idea.
No.
Yeah, mystery guy coming back for vengeance.
Guy that's been waiting forever for Sting to finally, like beat Flair. I've been waiting for this to finally happen, and now it's happening. I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna fucking get you. Okay, who's the guy?
Fuck, we don't know.
It's Al Perez, and then Al Perez shows up, and they're like, "Hey, Al Perez." Nate left.
He'll be back. He's probably doing a dual video.
But Al Perez shows up, and they're like, "Hey, Al, you're gonna be the Black Scorpion. This is gonna be the big thing for you, buddy." And then they're like, "But you're gonna have to lose." And he's like, "I don't want to lose." And they're like, "But you're Al Perez."
Right. Nobody knows who the hell you are.
And he's like, "This is gonna hurt me."
Nobody knows who the fuck you are.
Nobody knows who you are.
This is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt all the street cred I built up at GWF.
and then they're like, "Oh, Angel of Death. We'll make it Angel of Death." And then Angel of Death's like, "I don't even know who I am."
Right. Right.
And they do this whole rigmarole. And Nate, I feel like I'm stepping all over you because you brought it up.
No, go ahead.
And they bring it all up. They do this whole thing to get all the way to the end. And they bring Flair out. And they're like, "Hey, let's bring out in a
UFO. In a UFO.
The most recognizable person we have on our roster.
The nose alone.
The nose is going to protrude from the mask. Everybody is going to know that it's Ric Flair.
Oh, and let's not let him wear the same mask he's been wearing this whole time. Let's give it red around the eyes and the mouth so it can show us exactly who it is.
So then they rip the mask off of him. We find out it's Flair the whole time.
With a haircut.
And then it's over. And then for the rest of this man's career, we're never going to acknowledge the fact that the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, knows black magic.
and how to summon a UFO.
He never, in his entire rest of his career, turned one of his opponents into a tiger or a monkey.
That's the best part. That's the best part.
Like, you would have thought, oh, Hogan's about to end my career. Alakazam, boom, you're a champ. Never did it. Where did Ric Flair learn black magic?
Papa Shango. From Papa Shango. What I never understood was
when they brought in Norman Smiley, they were probably like, "Hey, we're bringing in black magic," and Ric Flair's like, "I don't want to be the Scorpion again."
What I never understood was this storyline was created because Flair and Jim Herd were having a falling out, and Herd wanted him to be Spartacus and cut his hair and be different and whatever. And then when they rip off the mask, there's Ric Flair with a Spartacus hairdo, and it's like, so wait a minute, you decided this was the
you went halfway. You went halfway.
Right. You didn't want to go the full way, but you went to this part. That was it.
I'm just saying, the fact that Ric Flair knew black magic and never used it again.
Right. Why did he never enter in a UFO ever again?
Yeah, we didn't see one again until John Cena came out at the Royal Rumble in 2006.
Right. Yeah. Flair was like, "Motherfucker, stole my gift."
Some bitch. Woo. You better not know magic, Cena.
But he does, because you can't see me.
Oh, shit. All right. So,
all right, Aaron, follow that.
No, Archie, it's your turn.
No,
it is Aaron's turn.
I'll go again, though. I'll go again if you want.
I'll let Archie go again because I just steamrolled over your fucking Black Scorpion thing.
Well, no, it was on all of our lists. So steamroll.
The next on my list, number 8, is the Yeti. Humping Hulkamania with the Giant. after coming out of a block of ice wrapped in shitty toilet paper.
So I guess technically
I
could
actually
just
liked that one because it was like the first time somebody actually fucked Hogan over him.
So I guess I'll just go again and we'll knock this one out and then Aaron
Mhm.
can go. Because I'll just lump it in the Yeti. I have the Dungeon of Doom.
It makes sense.
The whole
It makes
thing
sense.
on my list.
See,
The whole fucking debacle.
At least, see, this is my argument against the Dungeon of Doom, and I'm not. I agree with you. We've shit on them a lot of times on this show, but
Deservedly.
At least the Giant became WCW World Heavyweight Champion after the Dungeon of Doom, so it helped in his career. The Yeti went on to be a ninja, and then just was like, "Fuck it, I'm going to be a Seattle guy with Raven and call myself Ron Reese."
I'm a tall guy with a gut.
You know what I mean?
That's essentially what Ron Reese was.
Right.
Was a tall guy with a gut.
My gut, exactly. You know, I mean, he broke. All right, number one, he broke out of a giant iceberg, wrapped in toilet paper. They couldn't afford a monkey suit, a white monkey suit. You know what I mean?
A Yeti isn't a mummy. A mummy.
It's like it's completely. It's completely. Yeah.
A Yeti is like supposed to be like a monk, a big giant winter monkey or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. It's Bigfoot, but only white. You know what I mean?
Hold on.
That's the name of the show.
That's the name of the show. Big giant winter monkey.
The
name of the show.
I agree.
Big giant winter monkey.
But I mean, all right? They get to the show. All right, so we're gonna reveal the Yeti tonight. Yeah, for like 3 seconds, and then we're gonna reveal him again.
Mountain Dew Amp is gonna steal that for their next Super Bowl. Dad, Puppy Monkey Baby. But next, they're gonna have Winter Monkey Baby.
Big winter monkey baby.
Big giant winter monkey.
Remember Jack Link beef jerky messing with Sasquatch?
Yeah,
Big winter monkey baby. No, but I mean the Dungeon of Doom. Why did we never see the Master again after?
Well, and I was just about to say the only good thing about the Dungeon of Doom angle is getting to watch Curtis Iakea cut promos, even if they were goofy. Right. Sullivan, my son.
I liked Kevin. He was crazy. Like when he was like standing upside down, he's like, "Hey Hulk Hogan, the Dungeon of Doom still live with your posies, but they've expired." No one ever said it was going to be easy. See, like I don't hate the Dungeon of Doom.
No, neither do I.
Everybody shows up in their wrestling tights. They just show up at this fucking like seriously, like they're at the wrestling arena, and then all of a sudden they're all just at this iceberg, fucking talking and shit. It's stupid. It's so fucking stupid.
You know what the Dungeon of Doom?
It's so stupid.
You know what
it's
the Dungeon,
dumb.
Nate, you know what the Dungeon of Doom was?
It's public access. It's ridiculous.
You know what it was for me? You know what it really was for me? It was a gimmick at the time that it was happening that I disliked. But the older I've gotten, I've been like, you know what? This isn't as bad as what they're doing now.
No, it's not as bad as what they're doing now.
It's like I almost look at it, babe, and be like, you know what? I wish they would. How do I want to say it? Like, do you get what I'm saying?
I'll put it in perspective for you, okay?
Like Kevin Sullivan to me is how you were talking about Larry Zbyszko. He was a guy I didn't appreciate when I was younger, but the older I've gotten, like Kevin Sullivan was kind of the shit.
But here's how I will give you credit on that and put it in perspective. If I were to sit down right now, or like I did last night, and watch AEW, which is a 2-hour show,
watch the Dungeon of Doom and the fucking Dark Order.
AEW is Dynamite is a 2-hour show. I never watch any modern wrestling live other than pay-per-views. Okay, AEW Dynamite is a 2-hour show. When I'm done watching it, I have watched that show for possibly 40 minutes at the most, because I fast forward through tons of it because it's hot garbage. Every match is 25 fucking minutes. Even the jobber matches, it's stupid. I can sit down and watch a WCW show from 95 and go, man, this is awful. But I don't fast forward it. I'm still intrigued. I'm still watching.
Because you get the crazy ass Dungeon of Doom, but then
and it's wrestling. It's fucking wrestling.
And then they pepper it with a little bit of cruiserweight action, and then you're gonna get some William Regal beating the shit out of Finley, and Finley beating the shit out of William Regal.
Right.
But we're getting off on a different.
Aaron, what's next on your list?
The next thing on my list is, and this is where I said I'm pretty sure this was a Vince Russo era gimmick or angle. It is Chaz as a domestic abuser.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
that's pretty bad.
But even the lead up to it, like the what it was before that, wasn't going to be good either. Little Beaver cleavage, that was not going to end well either.
Yeah.
No, that was
it was and this is going to be a quick one for me. It was one of the like 4 topics that you shouldn't bring into professional wrestling.
I agree.
This was this is tasteless and unnecessary.
Yep, absolutely.
I agree with you, and the fact that it ended up being that she was lying about it after all that, because they found out from Thrasher coming back and saving his partner, was even worse. Because so you mean to tell me that she was,
I can guarantee you the reason they came up and said that that she was lying the entire time was because USA Network was like, "What the fuck?
Right? What did you do here? What did you do here?
You stop this now!"
Now.
And they were just like, "Oh, she was lying. It never really happened."
Right.
Yeah. Bad stuff, though. Super bad stuff.
Go ahead, Nate.
I thought you were next.
Oh, I figured since we lumped ours together, all right, fine. I might catch some heat from this from some of our listeners or one of you guys, but something that I think was the downfall of WCW, and I hated that it had to happen, and the angle, the finger poke of doom is on my list, because the NWO was fine as 2 separate factions, being the red and white and the red and white and the black, red and black and white and black. When they decided to make it the finger poke of doom, and this was all a ruse just to get the belt back on Hulk Hogan, and it just didn't do anything. And then the fact that you shit on WWF as this was going on made it even worse, because you lost your fans. Everybody turned the channel now and went to WWF, and then you presented this bullshit, which was all to placate Hulk Hogan again and stroke his ego a little more.
Yeah, it's
the finger poke of doom happened because they tried to do the red and black and the white and black, and then the red and black got over more than the white and black, and Hogan was like, "Well, shit, I need to be red and black now."
Right, but they could have gotten to Hogan doing that without having to ruin Goldberg's
Why not?
streak.
I was just
No, I know what you're. I know you wanted Hogan wanted to be cool again and be in with the in crowd. I get it, but I mean, if you were going to put the belt on Nash for the first time in WCW, ripping it off of him, then putting it back on Hogan one night later was, and then again, domestic abuse was Elizabeth saying, "Oh, Goldberg hit me," and Goldberg got arrested, so he wouldn't be at the. It's like, why? Why did this need to happen?
Well, and not to mention, and I know that there are people that will say that, and I totally do not see the comparison. There are people that literally compare D-Generation X to the NWO, and I don't.
Right.
I never saw that comparison. I thought that the D-Generation X and the NWO were 2 completely different things.
2 different things.
And that's a whole nother thing. But not to mention, the finger poke of doom is essentially a rehash of what Shawn and Hunter did with the European.
Right. But that was for the European title.
Right.
There's a difference.
You have literally your number 1 championship. Right. And you do some bullshit like this. Yeah, it's garbage.
It's not even the number 1. It's the number 1 championship in all of wrestling. You're the big gold belt, the belt that everyone associates with since 1918. This is the belt everybody knew. And let's shit on it because Hulk Hogan is feeling like he's being dull and boring again. Well, not our fault. Go ahead, Nate.
So the next one on my list is a debacle that never needed to happen.
Okay.
It's the invasion storyline. And here's why I say that.
The whole thing all together?
No. It is actually, though, possibly the biggest epic failure in wrestling history.
The outcome, yes, I agree.
And the reason I say that is you started out with what literally could have been the biggest story in pro wrestling history.
Yep.
And what you turned it into was a debacle. First of all, they didn't have the patience to wait.
Right.
They didn't have the patience to wait a year for contracts of, say, the guys that came in, Eric Bischoff, Ric Flair, Goldberg, et cetera,
Right.
to come in and do the storyline the right way. Secondly, by the end of the invasion, almost everybody involved in it is a WWF guy.
Right. The biggest
mean?
names on the invasion side are WWE World Heavyweight Champions.
Yes, it was they just. I don't know that there's ever been a bigger bald
Rock was the WCW champion.
Right.
Steve Austin was the WWE champion.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if there was ever a bigger ball drop.
And here's the stupidity of it all. Okay, I could buy Austin joining the alliance because Austin had ties to WCW. Kurt Angle didn't. Tez didn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? If Jericho would have switched sides, I'd be like, okay, well, Jericho was on Nitro. Jericho was a major part of WCW.
Benoit.
Right. But those guys are fighting on the WWE side. You know?
But yeah, and you guys can elaborate on it. But like I said, to me, it's such an epic failure because it's probably the story in the history of wrestling that had the most potential and then
fell flat.
Lost the biggest.
Well, it basically comes down to because, okay, the storyline started as Vince versus Shane. Okay, great. And you did it to build up WrestleMania. Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But then now you're involving Paul Heyman. And then you're involving Stephanie McMahon. Now it's the McMahon feud again. It's not about WCW anymore or ECW. And Triple H is out with an injury, so you don't have him on either side. You know what I mean?
Right.
It fell flat because they allowed it to fall flat.
And I totally agree with that. Like I said, just again, I hate to beat a dead horse, but biggest ball drop to me in wrestling history. And with that being said, let's take our break. We'll take a little break.
I'm gonna beat a horse after this break because my storyline involves a horseman.
Well, all right. All right. Well, everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back as we continue with our top 10 hated, worst, least liked, whatever the fuck we're calling it, angles in pro wrestling history. We'll be right back with more.
Angle can suck a dick.
Of the Weekend Wrestle Podcast.